Hey everybody, it's Lisa from the Silver Farmhouse coming to you with a pre-recorded video. Guys, we're making something really cute. There's a couple bumps in the road as you go. I will show you what happens when you don't do certain things because I learned from this jug. So guys, look what you could make. You could make a fake looking crock. Guys, we're making a fake looking crock. I'll explain everything as I go, but as you can see, guys, it is a fake looking crock. Very lightweight. The cork does come out. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you guys how you can make this. So I was walking through the Dollar Tree, and I seen a bottle of bleach. You guys may have some of these with COVID being around. Cleaning with bleach a lot. So this is the jug I got, but I'm sure any kind of jug, any kind of bleach jug will work. This one is kind of soft, just so you guys know. It's a little bit softer of a jug, and it is called Laz Totally Awesome Bleach, and it was from the Dollar Tree for $1. You're going to want to take your label off. They just slide right off. It's not glued on from the Dollar Tree whatsoever. They just pull right off. Then what I'm going to tell you is get a piece of sandpaper. I used anywhere between 220 to 180 grit sandpaper. Guys, you need to first empty your jug too. Empty all the bleach out. Use all the bleach. Wash clothes. Clean floors. Whatever you got to do to get rid of your bleach. Give your jug a very, very, very good sanding. I mean good sanding, guys. Paint is hard to stick to plastic, so you need to give it a rough edge for the spray paint to want to adhere to your plastic jug. Now, the two colors that I'm using are Rust-Oleum Satin Espresso is what I'm using on the top. And then for the bottom, I am using Rust-Oleum Gloss Almond. Gloss Almond. These are what I had on hand at my house, guys. You can paint your jug all solid color if you want. I decided to do the two-toned to give it that crock jug feel to it. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some plain paper and some painter's tape. Masking tape will work, whatever you want to use. You're going to need 2 sheets of paper. These are just printer paper. 8.5 by 11 is all I'm using. You can use newspaper. You can use whatever you would like to use. So you're going to take a piece of your tape, and you're going to, my jug is sanded too, by the way. My jug is already all sanded. I sanded it up good so we didn't have to waste time sanding a jug on here. Just make sure you get all the little cracks, the handles, everything, because your spray paint will not stick if you do not sand your jug. And then just take a piece of tape a little bit longer than your paper, attach it to the top of your paper, and leave some tape hanging over the edge. Then you're going to take your jug. Now, the Dollar Tree jug has an indent on it. If you can see the indent there where the label was, I am going to run my tape right along the indent as straight as I could possibly get it. And I'm just going to tape my paper around my jug. Straight as you could get it. I'm trying to go right up to the lip. I'll hold it up in 1 second for you guys. And then make sure you rub the top of the tape seam very well so your paint does not drip through onto the bottom half. It's okay if it does on this part. It's when you do the second part that you can't have it drip. It's a little windy here today, sorry. Windy, good for spray paint to dry though. So do you see, I just went to where the seam is on the Dollar Tree jug. I'm not sure what a Clorox jug looks like, but the Dollar Tree jug has the little seam. Take another sheet of paper and another strip of your painter's tape, masking tape, whatever you have. Same thing. Just attach your paper halfway and then cover the rest of the jug. You want to cover the rest of the jug. I just thought the cream would have a hard time covering the brown, so that's why I did paper on it. That one went on very easily. That one went on very easily for me. And then just make sure you give your seam a very good rub. And then I'm just going to take scissors, and I am going to cut off this bottom part of this paper just so that my jug can still sit. Just so my jug can still stand up is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to take my brown satin espresso from Rust-Oleum, and I'm going to give this Sorry, working on the house next door. Gotta do this outside because it's spray paint. And I'm just gonna give, no, I gotta step ahead of myself. Before we paint, step ahead of yourself, Lisa, step ahead of yourself. We need to cut, before, you could do it after too, it doesn't really matter, but before is better because it will be painted. We need to cut the top rim of this jug off. So I'm cutting the top rim off. Be very careful when you're doing this. I am using just a razor blade, and it's a thinner jug. So the razor blade, I'm gonna be very careful, I promise. I already did 3 of these. So the razor blade just pushes in, and you're just gonna try to cut as best as you can the top of your jug off here. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna save this top piece because we are going to make our cork using the top piece of this jug. See, I'm not perfect. Do you see? I'm going back around. I'm gonna show you. It's not perfect, and it's okay. So I just cut the top piece of my jug off. Do you see? It's not perfect. I got a little slit there, but it's okay. I am going to trim if you have any little lip on the inside. You may have little lips on the inside. I'm just going to take my razor blade and I'm just going to trim it. You could be a lot slower and neater if you want. For the sake of this video, I'm kind of going a little fast. But I just trimmed off the top lid. I'm not worried there's a little slit in it. It is what it is. But you can be more careful and trim off the top of your lip. Now, you don't have to remove all the foil. This foil, guys, is tough to get off the top of this rim. You can, I'm going to tell you what works. You can take a razor blade and trim the foil off if you don't want the foil on, but you're not even going to see it. But I'm going to tell you, if you have all little pieces like I do, see how they're all little sticking out? Take a pair of scissors and you want to trim your lid, your rim, so it's nice and flat. You need it nice and flat because it's going to need to fit inside your jug. So it's nice, and I took off all the little bumpies. It's nice and flat because it's going to fit inside the rim of your jug. Don't drop it in right now because you're going to have a hard time getting it out. Okay, so that's what you needed to do before we started painting, but now we're going to paint. So do that step first, and now we can go paint. I'm going to take my dark brown spray paint and just give your jugs thin coat of spray paint for the first coat and let it dry. I'd say for a good hour or 2. Make sure it's dry before you put your second coat on. Nice thin coat. Make sure you get under the handle. And then let this dry. Let it dry for an hour or 2. I got it on my hands already. Give it another coat. You don't have to spray the inside. There is no need. You're going to put the cork on it. And even if you want to put florals in it, a couple stems of florals, you're never going to see the inside. So don't worry about spraying the inside. So once you let it dry, give it a second coat. Once that coat is dry, you would peel your tape off. Once the second coat is dry, you're going to peel your tape off the bottom to reveal the bottom of the jug. Then, this is the only thing hard about working with spray paint. It's hard to show you every step. Then, once your top is dry, you go ahead and tape your top. Tape around your top. Now wait, I'm going to show you. This is why I say sand good. This bucket, I did not sand. I forgot to sand it before I did this. I'm going to show you what happens when you don't sand your spray paint and let it dry. This is the big mistake I made the first time. When you peel your paper off, you're going to peel the paint off with it. But when you tape, you want to go to the edge of your brown. But I'm telling you, sand, because if you don't sand, I already spray painted. There was nothing I could do at that point. I'm going to tell you, it will peel your spray paint off. If you happen to get some spray paint that does peel off, leave it go for now. Spray your bottom. We're going to spray the bottom. But if you do happen to get your spray paint, once you're all done, take a little foam brush, spray a little bit of your spray paint on the brush, and dab it onto where your paint came off. Let it dry. Let it dry. Let it dry good. I let my jug dry an entire day before I did anything else to it, just so you guys know, because it is spray paint on plastic and it's hard to keep it adhered. But if you sand well, I didn't have much of a problem with this guy. I sanded this guy very well. I might have had a few little speckles that I just took a paintbrush to, but it was nothing like this because I didn't sand it. All right, so after you have your tape applied onto the top part, make sure you rub your seam well. Rub your seam well. And then, I got new paper, so I have to cut this one. You need to spray the bottom part of your jug. Let me cut that paper. Now we need to spray the bottom part of our jug. The paper helps hold your can upright, okay? So that does, it's a little bit of a help there. And now for the bottom, we are using the Gloss Almond by Rust-Oleum. And you're just going to spray the bottom. Guys, let this guy dry for a good day before you go doing anything to it, especially if you're living in a humid area. We were very humid yesterday. We had a lot of rain. So that's why I think I was having a hard time with my paint adhering. Uh-oh, I don't want to spray my jug. Hang on, I gotta get my jug out of the way. Give it a light coating, let it dry for an hour or two, go back and give it another light coating, and then guys, let this dry. Let it dry, let it dry, let it dry. Because I'm a rusher, I like to rush everything, and it was a big mistake. I was peeling paint off and everything. So give your jar a good coat, let it dry for an hour or two, go back out and give it another spray, and then leave it dry, leave the entire jug dry for a day before you start messing around with it. And then you will have your jug that is painted brown on the top, cream on the bottom. If you want to give it a little bit of a distressed look on your jug, a little bit of the distressed look I got going on here, I took some dark stain. You guys all know, if you're with me for a long time, I like Minwax dark walnut stain is what I like. What you would do, I'm gonna put rubber gloves on for this one, to give it the aged look, you take your stain, you take a paper towel. I like paper towel with the stain to give it an aged look better than a brush, because you can control what's on your paper towel. So I'm gonna take a piece of paper towel, you dip it into your stain. My stain is like way at the bottom here. You dip it into your stain, and then guys, blot it into your paper towel to disperse it so you don't have so much in one area on your paper towel. Just give it a squeeze around your paper towel, and then take your jug and lightly rub your jug on it, just in little spots at a time, and then take another paper towel and just wipe some of it off. You don't want a lot. It's just going to be a little bit. Just rub a little bit on. Take a paper towel and wipe over where you just rubbed. You could do this to the entire bottom part of your jug and let it dry for maybe an hour or so before you go on to anything else, just to make sure everything is totally dry before you work with the jug. To make the little cork, guys, it needed a cork. If you weren't going to put flowers in it, you know it needs a cork, right? So to make the little cork in your jug, here's what I did. I took the rim from the jug that we had. You're going to need a piece of the Dollar Tree self-adhesive cork sheet. Dollar Tree self-adhesive cork sheet is what I'm using. And then all I did was I cut a strip, I'd say about an inch, a little over an inch long, that will wrap around your top lid here. So you need a strip that is going to be long enough to wrap around the top lid. And also you want some extra to hang over underneath on the bottom. So I'm gonna peel my backing off, and we're gonna start to stick it around the rim. It's very sticky stuff, guys. You can add hot glue if you feel like it's not gonna stick, but this is very sticky stuff. So I didn't feel there was any need for any hot glue. Go around to where you meet and then snip it off. And I'm trying to snip it right where it meets. And it's, I'm telling you, it's sticky stuff. You see it? It's sticking to my scissors. So I'm just trying to snip it to where it meets the other piece. And I am leaving this overhang. Inch, I'd say cut about an inch and a quarter, just so you have some overhang on the inside. And then take another piece and trace the top of your little lid here, your little cork that we're making. Trace it with a pencil. I'm pushing down on the inside like I'm gonna hold it. There's nothing on the inside. And just trace it with a pencil. Trace around your lid, your little cork lid here. Do the best you can. It's hard. I'm using a pencil. I tried Sharpie marker. Don't make the mistake I did. I got Sharpie marker all over my cork. So use a pencil. It may not make the whole circle, but it will give you the indent of the circle. And then just cut it out, guys. Just cut your little circle out. I cut kind of right on my trace line is what I did. And then we're just going to see if it fits on the top nicely. Let's see if it fits right on the top here. Give it a test before you go actually sticking it on, and it fits perfectly. It fits perfectly. Take your backer paper off and stick it right on. And now you have your cork. I just think this is so cute. You have your cork to go in your jug. So you have your cork to go in your jug, and they fit perfectly, guys. They fit in there. They fit. That's why I said leave some overhang, because you want it to be able to stay in the jar. So the overhang helps it hold it into the jar. And they fit perfectly. Let me see if this one is a little bit dry, that I could pick it up. It is. It's kind of nice and breezy out here today. But even this one, you may need it. This one's cork's a little long. But they fit right in to your jug. They fit into your jug. So voila, that part is all done. I still have some paint on my hands. I just don't want to get it on my jug. Then I'm going to pull over right now and show you guys. Okay, so you're probably all asking, okay, what about the label? Okay, so guys, here, you can go on the internet. If you go on Pinterest, there's tons of farmhouse free printable labels on Pinterest. You're going to go find your own label. I'm going to tell you how I made mine, though. Guys, I had a sign in my house. I took a picture of it. And I played with the filters on my computer, made it a little darker, and I made it smaller. I sized it on my computer to what I wanted to size it to. You do not need, they're cute just by themselves. If you are not computer savvy and you don't know how to do this, guys, it is fine by itself. It looks really cute, just plain. I was going to leave it plain, and then I thought, oh, let me throw a little twist in here. So I took a picture of a sign in my house and printed it out, resized it, colored it up a little bit on my printer, on my computer. Guys, I don't know what I'm doing either. I messed around with this. Just mess around with it. But there are so many free printables on Pinterest that you guys can go on and get if you want a printable. I don't have any way to give you this one because it's not sized like this. I went in and resized it myself before I printed it. Maybe I could share it on my blog, but you guys would have to figure out how to go in and resize it to the size you want, because it's not this size. You're going to have to size it to this size, but I will share it on my blog, but you'll have to figure out how to size it to print it out this small. I chose some kind of postcard paper size when I reprinted it, and I hit fit to page, so I'll share it to my blog when the blog is up. And then, guys, it's just you're decoupaging it onto your jug. Now, I really can't show you how to decoupage it onto your jug, but I'll tell you the steps because, you know, I mean, I could put it on both sides and show you guys how to do that. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll decoupage it. Maybe we'll decoupage it right onto the other side. I'll decoupage it onto the other side of, no, I don't want to. I want it on one side of my jug and the other ones aren't dry. So here's what you would do to decoupage it onto your jug. I know a lot of you probably know how to decoupage, but I am going to teach some people right now. You take your paper with your, now I'm going to tell you, if you got to let your paper dry with the ink for a little while too, because you will get some bleeding on the outside with your Mod Podge of your dark ink. But you take it over, you flip your paper over. You take any kind of Mod Podge. It doesn't matter, gloss, matte finish, does not matter. This one happens to be gloss finish. Gloss finish. And you just put a coating on the back side of, I did it on the back side of my paper. I took a good coating of Mod Podge and painted it onto the back side of my paper. For those of you who do not know how to decoupage, I did not put it on my jug, I put it on my paper. And then guys, you would take your paper. I don't have a jug finish to show you. You would take your jug, and I don't want it on the back side. I don't want the back side solid. And just place it onto your jug. You place it onto your jug, smooth it all out, and then do what we just did and put another layer of Mod Podge over your paper. So you would put it on your surface, just say this is our jug, or if you want to decoupage it on a plate, you would put it on the plate. You would take another scooping of Mod Podge and you would go, there goes my paper towel. You would go over the top of your paper with your Mod Podge, like so. And then you would leave it dry and it would be, it ends up drying clear, just like my little sign here. And it will have a coating over it, your Mod Podge coating over it. Now I'm gonna tell you, after I did all these steps, I did take a sealer. You could use any kind of sealer. You can use a clear coat. I'm not sure polyurethane. Polyurethane is usually for stain and wood. But I used Krylon Matte Finish is what I used for my sealer. I get this at Walmart. You could get it at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Lowe's, Home Depot. I'm sure they all sell a sealer. I gave it a coat of sealer. I let it dry for about 30 minutes and I went over and gave it another coat of sealer. So I did seal the paint onto my jug with a sealer. But guys, for $1 can of bleach from the Dollar Tree, and I use bleach. I do use bleach. I use bleach in my whites. I use bleach when I clean. I use bleach in my sink. But for $1, you can make a really cute imitation looking farmhouse crock jug. I just think it came out amazingly cute. So guys, feel free to spread the love of the Silver Farmhouse if you know anybody who would like to make one of these, and thank you so much for watching.